Hello and welcome back to The Give and Go. I'm your coach Reynoso with my boy
Soltero. What's up, y'all?
Folks, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you all as we are recording right now at the Reynoso headquarters back at home at my mother's place, shooting a very exciting episode because with Christmas right around the corner, we both got some gifts, my friend. We both got some gifts waiting for us under the Christmas tree, with Liverpool getting a massive victory at the weekend and Atleti nabbing the biggest headline with a 2-1 victory away from home against Barcelona.
League leaders, baby. Definitive as we beat Barcelona away. Diego Simeone's first time doing that against Barcelona.
Crazy.
And I want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all Atleti fans out there. Let's go, baby. Come on.
That's true. We're both.
Come on, producer, come here. Come here. Let's just get straight to the point of this match. Atletico stole this. Mm-hmm. We went to Barcelona's temporary home. No Hansi Flick. And we stole these 3 points. The nightmare for Barcelona continues, my friend. This is just rinse and repeat from what we've seen over the last 8 to 9 weeks. Barcelona, very good in possession, very dangerous with their delivery, with their chance creation, but they're not finishing when they need to, and their defense remains wide open.
And honestly, man, I feel like it's represented the most this Barcelona turmoil, this nightmare that they're currently in. When you look at a guy like Pedri, for example, who on the pitch was a 10 out of 10 performer. Yeah. He was incredible. Every time he got on the ball, I was terrified, dude, because his decision making, the passes he was slinging out, the ideas that he had, incredible. What a player, amazing to watch. But the fact that a guy like that ends the game with both hands over his face, and that's a goddamn loser, doesn't sit right with me, man. It doesn't sit right with me. And that's why I continue to have this frustration with Barcelona, because for the first 2 months of this season, we saw a version of Barcelona that was delivering on all aspects. Not just was their offense firing on all cylinders, but their defense was actually really good. Hansi Flick was looking like a genius operating his high line. But you fast forward 2 months after that, bro, and it's barren, man. Given the way that they played this game, they should have won it, dude. That's my problem here. They should have won this game. They had more possession, more shots. They created more opportunities. They're just way too flimsy in that backline, bro. Way too flimsy that Atletico was like, you know what? If we can withstand this pressure, and if we can just get a couple opportunities, I'm going to bet my money that one of my guys in Sorlath, Julian Alvarez, DePaul, Griezmann is going to get a goal here and tie a matchup so we can get points out of this game. And they actually did, bro.
That's why I think we keep harping on Barcelona, and why maybe it feels like we're hating on them a little bit extra. But the reality is, the first 2 months of the season, they legitimately look like one of the best teams in Europe, not just in Spain. These last 8 weeks has been the exact opposite. What a U-turn. Only 2 wins in their last 8 La Liga matches. We talk about how bad Manchester City have been. They only have 1 win in their last 8 matches. It's very similar downward spiral that both clubs are going through, and that's the reality of Barcelona right now. They can't win, man, and I think the only way Flick fixes this is if he emphasizes their defense. I think he's still considering the idea that their offense is so stacked that they can just play a high line and outscore their opponent, but I mean, dude, 10 matches in a row of it not working? You have to change something. So I right now, I think the main culprit is Hansi Flick. As you said, like players like Pedri, players like Lewandowski, Rafinha especially as well, they're giving everything that they can offensively for Barcelona. Sure, some things aren't working that are down to luck. For example, like finishing some of their chances.
Yeah,
I will say it's just been...
Rafinha hit the post at one point.
Yeah, I will say that's very unlucky. But defensively, man, you have to be prepared for simple counterattacks, man, because that second goal from Atletico, it was the most simple football. Just a simple ball down the right-hand side, a good cross and a good finish for sure. But against Atletico, you have to expect them to be clinical with their few chances. So just be prepared. Just have an extra man back there. Get physical. Atletico was non-threatening for the entire 90 minutes. The fact that we won this game is just a complete shame to Barcelona themselves, because Atletico did not deserve this win. We were by far the second best team, but we won. We won. We got the 3 points. And so this, for me, this is all on Hansi Flick.
No, 100%. 100%. So now I want to look over at Diego Simeone and what he's crafting up here, because my biggest question after I saw this game, this has been happening. They have been getting late results in the Champions League and La Liga. And so my question, because a very convoluted one, but How much of this is just straight up luck? Just getting lucky in those final moments in the footballing gods, just touching Diego Simeone's head and saying, you know what, I want to bless you. I'm blessing every Argentine that you have, which is why we saw Rodrigo Paul finish a beautiful shot. Molina send a beautiful pass. Maybe there's some juju going on there. Or how much of this is actually Simeone's game plan and Atletico's game plan actually working to perfection? Because you noted the limitations of this Atleti team early on in the season. It does seem like he's trying to maximize this team the most that he possibly can, which does come down to these really nitty-gritty games where at the end of the day, you know, maybe he's thinking he's going to get a draw out of this match, gets lucky, gets 3 points instead. Which one is it? Is it a combination of both, or is this, you know, just straight up the devil at work?
No, dude, I really do think this is classic Simeone.
Yeah.
He understands the players that he has, and he's maximizing their potential, and that potential is very defensive, my friend. And I don't like it. And it's why I haven't been that excited over these last 10 matches, because when we are winning, yeah, it's good. We're clinical, we're scoring, and we're getting good goals, but it's mainly because we have top-notch players, Griezmann, Sorloth, Julian Alvarez, and then, of course, yes, the Argentines are playing at a very high level right now, and I think that might be the luck aspect, but of course, they're also very good players. But against the teams that have much better possession, that have a lot more dynamic players, bro, we are second best every single time. We got cooked against Real Betis. PSG should have scored 3 on us, and Barcelona should have scored 5 on us. Yes, we are good defensively, but dude, the chances that Barcelona created in this match, I don't know how they only scored 1. I'm not even going to chalk that up to good defense, man. It was luck, and it's bad luck on Barcelona's side. And where I criticize Barcelona is defensively with Hansi Flick, right? Now, I don't really criticize their offense. And so for me, when it comes to Atletico being genuine title contenders, I'm still not convinced. I'm really not, bro.
No, it's crazy because I agree. I'm happy with the results. I'm not happy watching this team, bro. I haven't had fun watching Atletico Madrid this year. No. Just from an outside perspective, it hasn't been an enjoying experience. It's been one of dread, honestly, because it just comes down to the wire in every game. They do have a knack for staying in games, though, and I do applaud them. And they're getting better as the year goes on, so that is something to note. But when it comes to closing the deal out, I mean, we're halfway through the season right now. It's the halfway point, and they are leading the table by 1 point, I believe, now that Real Madrid won. I ask myself, do I see them? Is this actually sustainable? Is this something that they can pull off? It can be pulled off, but bro, this would take an incredible Simeone masterclass to actually do it, because so far the road that they've been on to get to where they are right now has involved a lot of luck, man. It really has. And things need to continue falling in their favor for them to ultimately end up lifting the trophy.
Absolutely. You look at this game specifically, and this is the epitome, the perfect example of how Atleti have been relying on luck, relying on very good clinical finishing, but also just absorbing a lot of pressure. I don't think it can work in the long run. I really don't. I think, especially when you look at Madrid with Mbappe seemingly getting back to very fine form, I wonder if Atletico can really go toe-to-toe with a team like Madrid over the course of 38 matches. I don't think so. And especially against this game against Barcelona, man, we absorbed pressure brilliantly, but we had no offensive identity. We just got the ball and we went forward when we had the chance, but it wasn't even specific counter-attacking style of football. We just poached. We literally just poached. We got a nice little assist from Casado to Rodrigo de Paul. De Paul said, thank you very much. And then we just took advantage of Barcelona getting desperate at the end. And Sorloth said, all right, I'm a good finisher. I'll give you a second goal, Diego. And we definitely got it. But I'm with you. I don't think it can be sustained. And so, yes, I'm very excited to see how far this can go. But if Madrid keep getting better, Madrid only need to shore up just a little bit of defensive issues, and I do think Madrid will actually be the favorites going into the second half of the season.
Yeah, I think if Atletico ends up pulling it off after 38 games, they're league winners, it'll be the heist of a century. Dude. Like, this will be a title stolen, and that's not a bad thing.
No,
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's how I'm going to remember it. That's how I'm going to look back on it like, wow, that was a year we're going in, didn't even have them in the top 2 teams, had them as the clear third best team in the league, and they end up as league winners in a season where Barca started off on fire and Real Madrid got Mbappe on their team. It was Atleti who ended up winning. Like, it'd be incredible. It'd be beautiful, but God, dude, the path that awaits y'all, what's left for y'all to accomplish, it could go really well. It could go really bad, dude.
Yeah. Only time will tell. I'm very excited because I wasn't expecting a title race with Atletico involved. I'm here. Yeah. I'm in it. I'm just still very, very hesitant.
Is Athletic Club in the title race?
Huh? What are you talking about?
Is Athletic Bilbao in the title race?
You know what's funny? I asked myself the same question. And I caught their game against Osasuna because I wanted to know, are they in the title race? The answer is no. Yes, they did win. They beat Osasuna. And it was a really good goal. Osasuna actually got a brilliant first goal through Lucas Torre. Really nice volley. Great goal in front of their home crowd. Athletic Bilbao, they stayed strong. They stayed steady. And they ended up getting 2 very good goals. And they saw the game out. Problem is, again, you have to look at the way Athletic play. And I think they're a 4th place team at best. I don't see them being Atletico. They don't really have the type of dynamic players that Barcelona and Real Madrid have. Atletico will be able to absorb that type of pressure. And I think that's just the story of Athletic. They have very good players. They're solid, but you need dynamicism in that team. And they don't really have it. Yes, they have Nico Williams, but outside of that, they just have very solid players.
Yeah, still pretty good for them. I mean, I was on YouTube looking through like highlights and looking at what people were saying about this Athletic Club team. And it's funny because in the comment section, someone commented this week and they're like, man, La Liga title race is so fun this year. We got 4 teams in it. He got like 20 upvotes, 60 comments immediately. What the fuck are you talking about, man? What the hell are you on about? Who do you think you are? You know, they could never compare it to Atletico Madrid or Real Madrid or Barcelona when it comes to the title race. And so I started questioning, are they actually in it? Because they are 2 points behind 3rd place right now, which really surprised me to see. But I think in the long run, it's just not going to be enough.
And I used the comparison of Girona last year. Girona were in the title race until late February. And the reason why is because they had such dynamic players. Players like Alex Garcia, Pablo Torre, dominating the midfield with very creative passing. And then, of course, you had players like Savinho and Dovbik being very clinical in the final third. Athletic don't have that. It's night and day the difference of last year's Girona side versus this year's Athletic side. Last year's Girona side was an actual title contender for a majority of the season. Athletic have just been right underneath the top 3, and it's gonna stay that way for this season.
Yeah, that's just an interesting development that I've noticed so far. The biggest development, though, outside of this Atletico Madrid-Barcelona game was what we saw from Real Madrid against Sevilla, where we got not just 1 golazo, but 2 golazos from outside the box with Kylian Mbappe scoring a cold goal. Really, really good finish, outside the box finish, just incredible. Mbappe's looking much, much better. And then Ernesto Valverde with an absolute beauty, a worldly, a long-range shot. It had me questioning, just maybe it's kind of cementing it in my mind. He's the best long-range shooter right now in world football.
Yeah, when he kicks it outside of 20, 22 yards, I'm genuinely scared because I don't know where it's going to go. I feel like more than half the time it's probably on target, and then a good 20, 25% of the time it's probably a screamer.
Yeah, bro.
It's an insane rate that he has. Valverde is so deadly from beyond the box.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, is there like who's in second in that category? I can't really think of one. Is it Mbappe at this point? From outside the box, who's your biggest threat? Yeah. Valverde's rate of conversion is the most impressive thing because he did this against Vallecano just recently when they needed a goal to get back into the game. It was Valverde from outside the box who scored. To do this here and basically put the game away, putting them up 2-0, I believe. I mean, Sevilla is Sevilla at the end of the day, but still, a long-range goal is very, very impressive. I think he's the best long-range shooter right now, and the biggest development is Madrid getting into rhythm now for the second half of the season.
Yeah, and for Madrid, I think offensively, they've been showing signs of really getting their act together, finally clicking. We're seeing very good chemistry with Mbappe and company, which is fantastic to see because the whole start of the season was Mbappe and the players around him, could they really gel? And the answer was no for a solid 2 to 3 months. But finally, we're starting to see Mbappe, I don't want to say lead the line, but definitely get a lot more involved, especially goal scoring wise. So if this continues, Madrid's offense is going to be such a deadly weapon, so much so that I think they're genuine title contenders once again as far as favorites. I have Real Madrid now as favorites to win La Liga. I think it's going to take for Barcelona to get back on track, and we've already talked about my qualms with Atletico.
That's why I am so pressed about Barcelona. They allowed this. When Real Madrid was questionable, when they had a weird Mbappe, when Vinny was in and out of the lineup, when Rodrigo was dealing with injuries, that's when you take advantage. That's when you gain points. That's when you gain momentum, especially after smacking them at El Clásico 4-0. You continue that momentum and you gain a 10-point, 15-point lead so that when they do get their act together, they're too far off to even compete. the way Barcelona's competed in the past 2 months has completely allowed Real Madrid back in. And I agree, give them that confidence, but then also give them that title of favorites for the second half of the season. I think they can actually go on to win it now if they continue playing at this level, because I'm very questionable now about Barcelona going back to that level that we saw in those first 2 months versus Real Madrid, who's just been building momentum and just going on a steady rise this whole season.
Yeah.
I see Real Madrid playing some great second half of the season football, whereas Barcelona, I need them to start winning soon, bro. Soon, to at least give me some bit of hope that they can compete for La Liga.
You know what's also interesting is this week, I've heard so many complaints, not from Barca fans, but from the Barcelona camp and people around them saying that the squad's tired. Have you been hearing that?
I haven't been hearing
that.
Yeah,
that even Rafinha said, "Yeah, we're just tired right now."
Huh?
It's December, and everyone's playing the same amount of football if you're a top club. And I get the idea that maybe Barcelona's not as deep as other teams. You look at Liverpool, and we've praised their depth. They're one of the most stacked teams out there. But for Barcelona, I don't think their depth is that much different than Real Madrid's, for example. I mean, Ancelotti almost picks the exact same 11 every single week. The only reason Ancelotti changes a squad is if due to injuries, right? That's the only reason Ancelotti will change his lineup. So I just think that's a weird excuse to use specifically for the Barcelona team. And for Real Madrid, I just have but one concern. If they fix this, I think they'll go on to win the league. And it is just, is Tchouaméni the starting center back alongside Rudiger?
Man, that's one to figure out. They probably were. I wonder if they're going to look for someone in the winter market to accommodate that center back position, because I think they can, though. They can win it with Tchouaméni there.
Yeah, I think they can too. I just wonder. First off, I wonder why Ancelotti is going with Tchouaméni when they have a pretty good center back in Asensio. Obviously, Asensio has almost zero experience, but in the minutes we've seen him this season, he's played great. He's played very, very good, a natural center back, whereas Tchouaméni very much is a defensive, destroying midfielder playing in a center back position. I think it works against most teams, but I'm going to be very curious. I'm going to have my eye on Tchouaméni specifically when they play against a much tougher offensive opponent.
100%. Folks, let us know. How do you feel about the title race right now? Atleti leading the league right now at this moment, at the turn of the year. Incredible what we've seen unfold in La Liga, and excited to see the second half. And over in the Premier League, we saw the highest scoring game of the year so far. Liverpool conceding 3 goals. While scoring 6, my friend. 6 goals, 6-3 scoreline. Mo Salah getting a brace in this game. Luis Diaz getting a brace in this game. Tottenham at one point making it a two-goal match with like 10 minutes left. It was back and forth. Goals galore all over the place. The minute Tottenham sort of like they got back in it, Liverpool responds right away. Knockout blow. Luis Diaz goal to make it 6-3. And Liverpool goes away from home into Tottenham Stadium and gets another really important 3 points here, as other title contenders potentially like Chelsea drop points. Liverpool get points this weekend to just continue that run, continue that form that they have, and continue playing some beautiful, beautiful football.
I was really excited going into this match specifically because of Tottenham's recent goal scoring form. They've been on fire, honestly. And yes, Tottenham did get 3 goals.
3, brother.
But 2 of them were so late, in my opinion. At one point, I think it was 5-1. I think it was 5-1 to Liverpool. In my opinion, this game was done by the 60th minute. When you looked at the goals that Liverpool were scoring before that hour mark and the chances that they were creating, dude, they were stretching the back line of Tottenham apart, man. Archie Gray, makeshift center back due to several injuries, I just think was heavily exposed in this match, man. Dragoshin wasn't that much better. Tottenham desperately need Romero. Also, Fraser Forster's in for Vicario, and you could see him be hesitant on several chances as well. I don't think Tottenham's defense specifically had a chance in this match. Liverpool's offense was just way too good. I mean, we've been talking about them for so long. At this point, we're a broken record talking about how good this Liverpool offense is. Yes, it ended up being somewhat tight at the end, but again, in my opinion, I think Liverpool knew they were going to win going into the second half.
I think that's what that 6 goal meant too. Like it was like when when your older brother gets a little annoyed at you, you know, and he just has to set you right.
Yeah.
Once they made it 5-3 with that third goal, Luis Diaz immediately responds. Mo Salah assists, like immediately they woke back into it, and they got the lead once again. It's just so telling, this whole performance from Liverpool, I'd say, because it was great performances all around, but more specifically, Szoboszlai, I think, had an incredible all-around performance today, offensively, box to box, just so active in the midfield. And you can say that for basically our entire midfield. McAllister was great, Gravenberch was great, and I've even noticed that as of late, Slot has been electing to go with Szoboszlai over Curtis Jones in recent games.
Yeah.
And Szoboszlai has actually been delivering, because I don't know if it's the haircut that he got. He's growing out his beard now, but he's playing with a lot more confidence. He looks a lot more settled into the team, and his role was great today, almost being a makeshift 9 at certain points.
Yeah.
Right there alongside Salah to assist him in those offensive opportunities. And he was just great.
Yeah, it was almost a throwback to Leipzig's Szoboszlai, where he was just way more advanced up the pitch, getting so involved offensively. He was brilliant today. Again, we talk about how good Liverpool's offense is. Their defense was fantastic, specifically in the first half, because, again, I was going into this game thinking Tottenham were going to maybe do a little something, but Son, Kulusevski, James Maddison had a very poor first half, and it was because of Liverpool's defense. They couldn't breathe. They couldn't find any space. Liverpool led off in the second half, but I'm not even going to look at that. It was 5-1 at one point. So for me, just a total dominant performance from Liverpool, and their run continues, bro.
Yeah. Tottenham, though, somehow has the most goals scored in the Prem this year,
Yeah.
which is insane. Like, there's something to work with there offensively. Shore up that back line, maybe you can figure it out. But I think it also does bring up the point of where do we stand on Ange Postecoglou right now with Tottenham. He's gotten a weird variety of results with, victories over Manchester City. He always follows that up with a really disappointing performance elsewhere. And it's been back and forth all season. This team is bipolar. They can be so good offensively, so bad defensively, or in other games they can still lack that clinical finishing as well, despite scoring a lot of goals. Yeah. Does this team need to look elsewhere when it comes to a coaching position, or is Ainge the guy to just stick with and be patient with over time?
This one's so tough because you look at the back line and there's just no good defenders outside of Christian Romero. Truly.
Van de Ven?
Van de Ven is good, but he's also a little mistake prone, I've noticed. I need to see Van de Ven healthy and put in a good shift of defensive performances over a long period of time. I think physically he's, a complete specimen. He's a hell of a center back, but I need much more consistent performances over a longer period of time before I can say he's just as good as Romero, for example. And then you look at the fullbacks, very offensive. Jed Spence just loves to get down that touchline, and Pedro Porro's the definition of an attacking fullback. So it's brilliant. I think that's why Tottenham are so good at scoring goals, but it's the yin and yang. There's no balance here. They go forward, but they don't check themselves defensively. I wonder, again, is it a personnel problem? Like, let's say you give Postecoglou a huge budget over the summer and you tell him, go get good defenders. Will they come back next year and fix that? Or is it Postecoglou's inability to find that balance? I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think last year he had a good start. This year, it's kind of the same pattern for Tottenham managers, man. There's really interesting highs that they can reach, but I can never see that consistency be achieved over an entire season. And just looking at where they are in the standings, like, it's not ideal for Tottenham given the squad that they ultimately do have. Injuries haven't been favorable, but I don't know. I would consider him just a little bit of on a warm seat right now, given what I've seen so far personally, because if this trend of run continues outside of the Liverpool game, I think they might have to switch things up from the Aussie man. Elsewhere, though, we had just some pretty notable results in the Prem all over the place, bro.
Yeah.
All over the place. So let's kind of go through these. Aston Villa continues the demise of Manchester City, one of the biggest and greatest downfalls we've seen of the big club in modern history, with a victory of 2-1 over them. Goals from Morgan Rogers and John Duran, who continues to get the start over Ollie Watkins, baby.
I'm convinced someone in Aston Villa staff is watching this podcast because last week I noted the lack of ability in the midfield from Aston Villa. And for the first time this season, Unai Emery goes with a 3-man midfield.
Wow.
Kamara, Tielemans, and Onana. And in my opinion, and I've been asking for it for a while, it's just so much more defined. The midfielders get to do their role specifically. We saw Tielemans in that first goal being the creator that he is, with a brilliant through ball into the ongoing attacker. Gives it to John Duran. It's a goal. Aston Villa go up. And then we're able to see Kamara's really good reading of the game because he is a good defender, but he can get involved offensively as well with the ball at his feet. And Onana's a destroyer. He loves to break up play. If you give him that sole role, he's a much better player. When you have a two-man midfield, they're asked to do too much, and I think they get lost in their identity. I hope Unai Emery continues this formation because I think they're just way more balanced. It also gives McGinn and Rodgers their own defined roles on the wide positionings. McGinn gets to do what he needs to do on the right-hand side, and Rodgers is the same, but on the other side. Rodgers was brilliant in this match. That second goal, oh my God, bro. Rodgers in stride, again, is must-watch television, bro. Aston Villa really cooked in this match, and once again, City were the second best team.
Yeah, and with this victory, they overtake Manchester City in the standings to now be in 6th place. Man City down to 7th place, bro. 7th place, and I believe it's now 15 points behind Liverpool. I don't have a comment to make. I'm just like, damn, dude. Damn.
Yeah.
Crazy downfall here. Elsewhere, we also had Nottingham Forest defeat Brentford 2-0, giving Brentford their first home loss, bro. Their first home loss. They had been undefeated up to this point, and even now, if you sort the Premier League based off of solely home results, Brentford is leading the league right now in home results. It's crazy. They played incredible when they're comfy, but Nottingham Forest came in and they disrupted the vibe. They took over and they dominated with Alenga scoring a beautiful, beautiful goal and following that up with one of the cleanest knee slides that I've seen in a really, really long time. I suggest people go look at that highlight specifically. But Nottingham now with this victory is clearly in 4th place. And now, in my eyes, a true contender for Champions League contention, man. They might actually do it. We might see Nottingham Forest back in the Champions League next season if they continue playing this way.
I need them, man. I need Forest to continue their run. They're playing such good football. I love the players that they have. They have ballers. We talked last week when they beat Villa. It was so defining in that result. They just got to continue because when you look at it, when you look at the teams that are beneath them, I do think Forest is better than them. I don't think they're better than the top 3, but Forest in 4th just feels right.
And now looking at the next potential contender when it comes to the league, we had Chelsea play against Everton. And as you mentioned, you believe there might be someone listening to the pod in Villa's camp. I don't think there's anybody listening to it in Chelsea's section, bro, because Nicolas Jackson gets to start here and he misses a clear opportunity, ultimately dampening Chelsea's chances of getting 3 points in this match against a feisty Everton team that now takes a point from Arsenal and Chelsea in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, and to kind of just shore up the idea on Nico Jackson, he's a great player, but he's a goal getter. He's not a goal scorer. So Maresca has to ask him to go get him goals, and Jackson has to go find it. You know, he might come back with 1 goal one time and come back with 2, but sometimes, a lot of times, he might not get you any goals. Whereas you look at players like Julian Alvarez, for example, he's a goal scorer. You know, you put him on the pitch, he's going to create a chance. He's going to score a goal. Jackson has to work really hard to score goals. He's not clinical. He's a good player, but again, as I've said, Nico Jackson, I just don't think is going to be the guy to get Chelsea to the top. They got to have a better striker. He's just not clinical.
And I think I've noticed for Chelsea, too, is that because it kind of reminds me of Darwin Núñez a little bit. He's a goal-getter as well, but Núñez gets masked a little bit more because we have not just great creators like Chelsea has, but we have great finishers, bro. Folks that can finish an opportunity. Gakpo, Diaz, Salah, Jota. Dude, they can all finish and mask Núñez, having 2 goals in the Prem this year. But for Jackson, if he's not scoring, I'm not saying that Chelsea has a bad offense, but they're not as clinical all around as the Liverpool side. So because of that, I'm actually really excited to see what Chelsea's offense looks like next season. I think they're going to be incredible, especially if they can look past Jackson or if they can maybe find a different iteration or version of Jackson potentially because he is still kind of young. Maybe the rest of the players can step up their offensive game as well. I think Chelsea next year will look super, super dangerous and with much more confidence offensively that can then ultimately lead to them getting 3 points in a tough game like this away at Everton. These are the games that you got to win to stay in the title race, and I think this is why I ultimately ruled them out of it because, experience comes into play, and Everton knew how to expose that.
Yeah, and I was really hoping Chelsea would not pull an Arsenal here and actually beat Everton. It's these tight games that are very, very tough for these types of teams. Of course, it's very difficult. 2 low blocks. What are you going to do? And I was hoping Chelsea could change that narrative. But it seems like Liverpool's the only team that can consistently break any defense.
I think right now, yes.
Yeah.
Right now, yes. And And I think consistently a team that gets their defense broken consistently is Manchester United. That's a weird transition, but Bournemouth getting 3 goals on their heads with goals from Hjolsen, the center back, Kluivert, Semenyo getting a third one here. Bournemouth now gets themselves in 5th place, my friend. 5th place. That's insane, with just great players all around. And Semenyo, Milos Kerkez having an incredible season. The return of Kepa Arrizabalaga, Ryan Christie in that midfield. Even Emma Nielsen has been pretty solid up top. Bournemouth takes the lead at Old Trafford, wins away from home back-to-back times because they did the same thing last year. And Manchester United continues struggling outside of an anomaly when they came back against Manchester City in the dying moments. This has not looked like a good start for Amorim in his tenure, man.
And it shouldn't be a surprise. We talked about this when Amorim got signed from Sporting. Yes, he was flying with Sporting, but remember, and this is all I'm going to say, remember, Manchester United's problem is not their managers, it's the club. It's how it's ran. It's how they choose their players. It's a much deeper problem. No coach is going to fix this club.
Yeah, I think that's what makes this crazy, though, because looking at Bournemouth, I mentioned we've talked about the title race, being basically in favor of Liverpool, but the Champions League race can be really interesting. If we got Bournemouth playing like this, you got Manchester City just on the horizon. Imagine they don't make Champions League. That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. Villa just took over Manchester City in 6th. Newcastle is starting to build up form. Brighton is always involved as well. There's teams now fighting for that 4th, 3rd place spot that I think will be really interesting to keep up with. And one of the more exciting aspects of the Premier League. And going on over to Italy, I want to pop my eye in there because we have a really fun title race that gets better every single week. And although some games are yet to be played, like Inter Milan, for example, I think they have a game in hand right now. The 2 leaders up top, Napoli and Atalanta, had matches this weekend and some really interesting results, with Napoli going up against Genoa and winning that game 2-1 behind 2 header goals, one of them being from Lukaku, our boy. And Genoa, sporting a really interesting team, bro. I mean, I didn't know that they got Patrick Vieira coaching them first and foremost, right?
Oh, wow.
So ex-Crystal Palace, that's where he went to after his tenure there. You have Mario Balotelli getting minutes on this team and actually being pretty impactful in like the 15 minutes that he played in this match, almost scoring a goal. He didn't, but he almost scored a goal. He's got 0 goals so far in his tenure, so he's searching for that first goal with his return back to the Serie A. And then obviously Mexican Johan Vazquez as part of this team to complement their defense and honestly put in a really good performance. Wasn't enough, though, to beat this Napoli side who is playing really good football in Italy. They get a 2-1 victory here to get 3 points and momentarily be league leaders as Atalanta awaited their opponent Empoli at home. And my God, did Empoli give them a test, man. I was actually watching the Liverpool-Tottenham game, so once that game finished, I shifted on over to this match, and I saw the last 30 minutes, and I saw that it was a tied game, 2-2.
Damn.
Somehow Empoli found a way to score 2 back-to-back goals in this game and keep it tight. So I'm watching it just like, holy shit, can Atalanta do it? Because up until this point, they're kind of like Atleti. They had a 10-game win streak in Serie A to keep them up top. So they're flying high. Can they do it? Can they get that game-winning goal to push them over the edge and win this game 3-2? The answer is yes, with Starboy, Atalanta Starboy, Charles de Ketelaere scoring a beauty of the goal, just riding the top of the box until he found an opening. Megs a player on the way there, goes through his legs, bottom right corner. And it seems in Atalanta, Gasperini is losing his mind, gets emotional on this one. And Atalanta wins this game 3-2 to regain first place in Serie A and extend their win streak to 11 games.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, Atalanta have been cooking. Yeah. They've been cooking. For the last month, I've genuinely considered Atalanta to be contenders in the Champions League, true contenders. And of course, contenders for the Scudetto, definitely. So this is a big win. This is the type of wins you need. These tight matches, you need goal scorers. Lookman and De Ketelaere have been so good over the last 12 months. The fact that they've just continued this form, dude, music to my ears. I love this. I'm a big Atalanta fan, y'all.
Yes, sir. Congratulations, Atlanta. Big result here.
Let's go.
But why don't you take me over to Germany? Because I actually didn't see any German football this weekend. I don't know what happened, bro. I don't know what happened. Run it down for me. In German, please.
The Deutsch. 37 goals. 37 goals, 9 matches total, an average of 4.1 goals a game.
Oh, my.
A game, my
It's
friend.
open season over there.
It's open season, bro.
Whoa.
The next highest was the Premier League with an average of just 3 goals.
Damn.
So 33% higher in Germany this week, and it was goals
Even
galore,
with
bro.
Liverpool's 9-goal game?
If that game didn't happen, it would be way less.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
So there's a lot of goals, bro. And it started Friday night. Leipzig, Bayern Munich in Bavaria.
Okay.
A nice little Bavarian Christmas special we got. Bayern Munich 5-1. 5-1 to Bayern, bro. Yep.
Oh, Leipzig, though.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. And all I want to say here, I just want to go ahead and give this award out right now here in December. Worst performers of the season, RB Leipzig.
Wow.
Are you kidding me, bro? Their team, the potential that every player has, and you look at their record right now in the Bundesliga, you look at their record, especially in the UEFA Champions League, how are they this bad?
Where are they at right now in the Bundesliga table?
It's not that bad, but it's bad in terms of they should be title contenders.
No, I agree.
Contextually, bro, they should be leading the league, especially when you consider Bayern Munich still aren't really in their full stride, and Leverkusen have been weaker this year. Leipzig are in 4th, but 9 points behind Bayern Munich now. 9 points.
Damn.
And yeah, it's a pretty big gap. But again, you just look at the talent that Leipzig have. For me, worst performers as far as where they should be. Because this is just pathetic, honestly, from Leipzig, man. How are you losing this poorly against Bayern Munich, your rivals, and how are you having this bad of a campaign in Europe? I just don't understand it. Very disappointed.
I don't know the head coach's name, but I've been hearing that he's been under fire recently. Like, how is he still coaching this team, bro?
I don't know. And honestly, with this performance specifically, where Leipzig just completely imploded, Bayern Munich had their way. Michael Olise had 2 very good assists.
Slapped him up.
Oh, yeah. They were just going left and right. It didn't really matter. It was total domination from Bayern Munich. I don't know how much longer Marco Rose is his name. Yeah. I don't know how much longer Rose has as head coach of Leipzig. I really don't.
I mean, Klopp's in the RB system. He's there. Just come on. Something, man. Found a way.
He can't betray Dortmund like that. He can't.
Imagine.
That'd be crazy.
Imagine. No, there's no way. I'm interested to see who they end up getting if he actually does get fired or if they stick it out with Rose and see what he can do for the rest of the season. What else you got for me in Germany?
Moving along quickly, I just want to go to another 5-1 result. Bayer Leverkusen.
Oh, okay.
Defeating Freiburg. Actually, an interesting game. Freiburg just outside of the top 5, trying to see if they can actually handle, a Champions League level side. The answer is no. Because Bayer Leverkusen, even though it was kind of tight for maybe a half of this game, they dominated. They had all of the possession. Freiburg were feisty at best. They did try. I'm not going to put that against Freiburg, but yeah, Leverkusen just night and day, a much better side. Patrick Schick, 4 goals.
Damn.
Got a 4-bagger.
A 4-bagger.
Yeah.
And I think I saw something about Wirtz putting up numbers.
Wirtz was fantastic. He did miss a penalty. No criticism there, but he ended up getting his goal, and he was just fantastic.
Yeah, assists. I think he had a hat trick of assists. I think is what I saw.
Let me actually see.
Because he's been putting up numbers like crazy.
He did 3 assists.
That's insane.
3 assists, a goal as well. Wirtz he's cooking, bro.
I hope, man. I hope they can challenge that title contention from Bayern right now because Bayern isn't the best team like that I've seen them be in recent memory. Like they still have flaws that can be exposed based off of what we've seen in the Champions League. Bayer Leverkusen has just taken a while to really pick up their pace so far. Yeah. It seems like maybe now they've got it rolling though. They got it rolling, and I'm really interested to see when's that next Bayern Munich Bayer Leverkusen matchup because I'm ready for that second battle.
Yeah, it's really big for Leverkusen. They're only 4 points behind Bayern Munich. I think that's very, very doable. But yeah, it's just their defense has really let them down this year. But they are picking up stride. I think, honestly, to start this season, they were a little shaky offensively even. But I think they've been picking it back up, definitely, especially with players like Wirtz and Schick just finding the back of the net. To finish, in Germany, the Bundesliga, I'll talk about FSV Mainz. Because they beat Bayern Munich last week.
Right.
They beat Bayern last week. We didn't really talk about it, but I was like, you know what? Let me see if they can cook once again because they were going on the road to Frankfurt, who are in 3rd place right now, having a decent season. Last time we talked about Frankfurt, they had a good match against Leverkusen, but were the 2nd best team. And I wanted to see, all right, pressure on again. You're facing a very good, very feisty Mainz side. Can Frankfurt undo the demons that they constantly face against these type of opponents. FC Mainz beat them 3-1.
Bro.
Yeah. And I think the takeaway here is Frankfurt are not good under pressure. Because FC Mainz, the way that they played this match, honestly, they weren't the better team, but they pressured the hell out of Frankfurt, and Frankfurt caved. They completely caved, man. One thing to note, though, they had their backup keeper, Kawa Santos, Brazilian keeper from Flamengo. He's in for the injured Kevin Trapp.
Oh, okay.
This is the first time that Santos has really played top flight football in Europe. He's gotten minutes earlier this season. Trapp's out again, so he comes back in. He had 2 blunders, man. Go watch them.
Okay.
But his defense didn't really help him out. But Santos definitely to blame for 2 of them. But I'm not even going to put the blame on Santos specifically because FC Mainz had a red card in the 20th minute.
Oh, no.
Yep. And Frankfurt couldn't do anything about it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. They got desperate. They couldn't control the match. Mainz, again, just pressured. And Frankfurt caved, bro. They completely caved. FSV Mainz, honestly, beautiful performance, even up against it, down a man for 70 minutes. This was a great performance, and I'm going to be keeping watching Mainz football because there is something here. I don't think they're better than Munich or Leverkusen, but I think they could fight for third place, especially proving that they just beat Frankfurt.
They beat Frankfurt. They beat Bayern Munich. I wonder how they match up against Dortmund.
I wonder.
Happened already. I'm not sure.
I think that would be a very, very tight game. I think it'd be back and forth. They're both very similar in the sense that they both have very good offenses, very good on the ball. Right now, I'd probably give it to Mainz because I think they have a better defense, but I think it'd be very, very tight.
And they're what, in 5th place now or something?
They're now in 5th place.
Not bad.
They're now
Not
in
bad.
5th place. 2 points behind Eintracht Frankfurt now.
Wow. Okay. I'm excited to see that race then. I am because I've kept an eye on Frankfurt, but I've been seeing the steady rise of Mainz football. It might be time for me to sit Mainz ass down and watch this game, my friend.